Welcome to The Explainer. You know, in the high-stakes world of Indian politics, loyalty is supposed to be everything. So what happens when a rising star publicly torches his own party, calls them a coterie of liars, and then immediately joins their biggest rival? Yeah, today we're digging into the sudden and dramatic political shift of Raghav Chadha.
So, the guy at the center of this whole political storm is Raghav Chadha. And you have to understand, he was one of the Aam Aadmi Party's most recognizable faces. His decision to leave, well, it wasn't a quiet little exit. It was more like a public detonation. So, what on earth could push such a key player to ditch his party right on the eve of a major election? Let's break it all down.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the event that really set all of this in motion, the resignation itself.
And look, this wasn't some backstage player stepping down. Raghav Chadha was a frontline leader for the AFP, a really sharp debater, a key strategist. He helped shape the party's entire public image. So his departure, it leaves a pretty significant void.
But again, why leave now? Well, Chadha didn't just put out some polite run-of-the-mill statement. Nope. He left with some absolutely explosive allegations, painting a really damning picture of the party he once championed.
Just think about how powerful that statement is for a second. I did not want to be a part of their crimes. Whoa. This is so far beyond just having policy differences. Chadha is straight up alleging criminal activity is at the heart of his own party, and he's framing his resignation as a matter of conscience.
And the accusations just went deeper from there. He described this culture of being suffocated, where dissent just wasn't allowed. He called the party leadership a coterie of liars. But the tipping point, he said, was these grave allegations of corruption that he just couldn't ignore anymore.
Now, these weren't just some vague accusations either. Chadha tied his exit directly to a massive, ongoing scandal that has been plaguing the AAP for a while.
He pointed his finger squarely at the Delhi liquor policy case. And if you've been following Indian politics, you know this is a sprawling corruption probe that has entangled the AAP's highest-ranking leaders. It's become a major political liability for the party.
And the flashpoint, according to Chadha, was the arrest of the party's own chief minister, Arvind Kejriwal. He's basically claiming this was the moment the veil was lifted, the event that exposed the party's leadership and, in his mind, confirmed all his deepest concerns about its integrity.
Of course, this story doesn't end with a resignation. This was an immediate pivot to his former party's biggest rival.
And the pivot was incredibly swift. I mean, it felt like it was almost in the same breath that he was denouncing the AAP that Chadha announced he was joining the BJP, the ruling party at the national level, and a direct political opponent to the AAP.
The contrast in his messaging is just stark. He's framing this as a clear choice. On one side, you have a coterie of liars and corrupt people, and on the other, you have the pro-people policies of the ruling party. It's a narrative of moving from darkness to light. Now, of course, you can bet the AAP would paint a very, very different picture, probably calling this an opportunistic move by someone joining the very party that's investigating them.
So, why does one politician switching sides cause such a massive stir? Well, to really understand the impact here, you have to look at the timing.
The timing is just critical. You see his rise within the AAP, right? Then, in 2022, the liquor policy case emerges. Then, fast forward to early 2024, and top party leaders are arrested. And then, just weeks later, right on the cusp of a general election, Chadha makes his move. It feels like a very calculated decision designed for maximum political impact.
For the AAP, this is a huge blow. They've lost a key strategist at what is arguably their most vulnerable moment. It completely undermines their core anti-corruption message, and, let's be honest, it hands a powerful weapon to the BJP. And from the BJP's point of view, they haven't just weakened a rival, they've gained a prominent voice who can lend a ton of credibility to their attacks.
So this one single move leaves us with some really critical questions. Is this the beginning of a larger collapse for the AAP, or is this just a really well-timed political hit job? It forces you to wonder. In an era of such intense political polarization, what does loyalty even mean anymore? As the election battle heats up, this high-profile exit might just be the first of many aftershocks to come.